ओंटारियो सरकार ने एक होर वड्डा फैसला लिता है मैंटल हैल्थ के इशू ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਹੈ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਸਟੀਫਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ 6 ਔਰ 7 ਦੇ ਟੀਚਰਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰਿਸੋਰਸਿਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਲਿਟਰੇਸੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏ ਔਰ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ 10 ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਮੈਂਡੇਟਰੀ ਕੁਰਿਕੂਲਮ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਬਜੈਕਟਸ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਮੈਂਡੇਟਰੀ ਕੁਰਿਕੂਲਮ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਈਏ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ 10 ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂਡੇਟਰੀ ਕੁਰਿਕੂਲਮ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਬਜੈਕਟਸ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸੋ ਆ ਸਟੀਫਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਨੇ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸਵਾਲ ਜਵਾਬ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਥ੍ਰੈਟਸ ਗਨ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੇਖੇ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਕੈਨੇਬੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਕੰਜ਼ੰਪਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਯੂਥ 'ਚ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਇਸ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਸਟੀਫਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋ ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ MPP ਅਮਰਜੋਤ ਸੰਧੂ ਵੀ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਸੀਗੇ ਔਰ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਟ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਨੀਨਾ ਟਾਂਗਰੀ ਵੀ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਸੀ ਸਟੀਫਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸੇਫ ਹੈ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਹੈ SRO ਆਫਿਸਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੁਝ ਕਾਰਨਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ SRO ਆਫਿਸਰ ਹਟਾਏ ਗਏ ਸੀ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲਿਆਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹਟਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਚੀਫ ਆਫ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਟੈਂਪਰੇਰੀ ਹਾਲਟ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੀਡ ਆਫ ਦੀ ਆਰ ਹੈ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚ SRO ਆਫਿਸਰਸ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਲੀਡ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਨੂੰ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਮੈਂਡੇਟਰੀ ਕੁਰਿਕੂਲਮ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ 10 ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਟੀਫਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਖਾਸ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ
ਸੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਜੀ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਟੇਕ ਹੋਲਡਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ Minister Leche is here, Minister of Education, Minister Nina Tangri, Associate Minister of Housing. ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਵੇਂ ਰੋਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੋ ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਅ ਵੰਡਰਫੁਲ ਵਰਕ ਇਨ ਦਿਸ ਨਿਊ ਫਾਈਲ Minister Leche obviously we all know education is not an easy file ਬਹੁਤ ਟਫ ਫਾਈਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਹੀ ਇਜ਼ ਬੀਨ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਫਿਨੋਮੀਨਲ ਵਰਕ ਪਿਛਲੇ 4-5 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਵਾ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਮੇਕਿੰਗ ਅਨਪ੍ਰੈਸੀਡੈਂਟਡ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਨਾਟ ਓਨਲੀ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਫੋਕਸਿੰਗ ਔਨ ਵਾਟ ਮੈਟਰਸ ਮੋਸਟ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਿਊਚਰਲੀ ਰੈਡੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਟਰੈਂਥਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਥਮੈਟਿਕਸ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜੀ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਲਿਟਰੇਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਟਰੈਂਥਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਕੂਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜੀ ਬਣਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਕਿ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੀ ਪਾਪੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਟਸ ਸਿਗਨੀਫਿਕੈਂਟਲੀ ਗਰੋਇੰਗ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਦੀ ਪਾਪੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਲਾਸਟ ਵੀਕ Minister was in Brampton West. We recently toured the new Malala Yousafzai ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਕੂਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਾ that is under construction. It's almost $26 million ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਗਰੋ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਸਕੂਲ ਬਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਇੱਕ ਮਾਊਂਟ ਪਲੇਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਕੂਲ ਬਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਾ ਸੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੂ ਇਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਇਕਵਿਪਡ ਹੋਣ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੇ ਲਿਟਰੇਸੀ ਮੈਥਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ so government ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਆ Minister Leche is working hard on the file.
It's an honor to join you all this evening. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Adab. It's great to have the ethnic media join us today because it's just so important that we do get the message out of what our government and especially Minister Leche, what we've been doing to try and achieve great results for our children in this province. So as you're all aware, our government's investing $180 million more in targeted supports in education right in the classroom. So we can help our students in math, reading skills, and all of the knowledge that they need to success in the workplace. So this investment is going to support about 1,000 more educators to help students develop all of these important skills. This critical investment is going to have such a positive impact right across our province. And I'm not going to take up too much time because I know we all want to hear from Minister Leche. And of course, we'll all be here to answer any questions that you have after that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marjot. Thank you, Nina. And thank you all for being with us today. I think what I was able to translate in Marjot's Punjabi there is we're going back to basics. We are refocusing the system on what actually matters to the success of a child. You heard Nina say it. We want your children to master the skills of reading, writing, and math. If we don't get the basics right, everything else will not be. It will be insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So we're refocusing the system, and we brought forth a piece of legislation, the first modernization of the Education Act in a generation. And we did it because we believe for these kids that we can do better. We do amazing things in schools. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of what we do. I just believe in my heart. we can elevate our standards, we can expect higher outcomes, and we can make school boards more accountable to parents along the way. That's a good outcome. It's a healthy outcome, and we need to play a constructive role in creating more accountability to empower parents' voices. So we brought forth the Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, designed to strengthen reading, writing, and math, as well as to, for the first time, give the government and the ministry the power to set priorities on student achievement. Right now, you have 72 school boards. They do their own thing. Some are good at student achievement. They're focused on increasing their scores and skills. Some of them are very bad at it. This is going to set a standard across the system, no matter where you learn, in the most smallest town to Toronto and Mississauga, Brampton, everything in between, that student achievement, meaning increasing performance in reading, writing, and math, will be our number one priority. We have also initiated a variety of changes within this legislation to allow us to better train new teachers on literacy, on mathematics, on mental health, and special education. This legislation creates more accountability within our school boards so that the tax dollars are better used to improve the life of a child. And frankly, when it comes to our school boards that own a lot of land, as you know, one of the largest landlords, this bill ensures we build schools quicker. We were just at Malala Yousafzai, a school that Amarjot and I announced together, and we're going to open together next year. Okay, that's great. That was 3 years, but that's not the norm in Ontario. So many parents have waited 7, 8, 12 years for a school to get done. These are the most simple, standard design schools. It can't take a decade to build a school in any part of the world. So this bill accelerates the approvals so that from Mississauga to Brampton to Vaughan and every community across Ontario, we are able to deliver faster schools for families, especially where there's growth. And I know there's growth, frankly, in all of our communities right now. And there's 300,000 people moving here. I'm the son of immigrants. You know, you are an immigrant, you are an immigrant. Like, we embrace immigrants. We want more of them. Like, we're grateful for them. We need them. But they need a place for their kids to go to school and, frankly, a place for them to live, which is what Nina's doing. So we're working together here to make sure we build a community, the homes, the schools, the jobs, the opportunities for the next generation. And that's what we're trying to do with this bill. The final thing is, and I appreciate that Nina mentioned it, is the investments. You know, we have increased funding every single year. This year, we're hiring 2,000 more teachers, 2,000 additional teachers that are specialized on literacy and on mathematics. Like, we're really focusing in on those areas because we saw the EQAO scores, you know, those annual tests they do of the kids in grade 3, 6, and 9. How are they doing? They've come down. They've come down across the world. It's not surprising after the pandemic, but it's a problem, and we're concerned about it. So much so that we're putting a significant amount of money on the table, $100 million in literacy, over $60 million in math to hire more staff, 2,000 more teachers. And we increased the funding overall for this coming school year by $650 million more dollars, which is really powerful because we want these kids to succeed. Earlier today, I was with my colleague, Natalie Pierre, who's the MPP for Burlington, and someone who, you know, as a mother faced some horrible difficulty losing her own son. And she was committed to leaving a legacy. So she ran for office to help ensure mental health is at the center of our learning. The kids feel safe, they feel comfortable, that they know that there are people in their schools they can turn to if they ever have an issue, especially with mental health. And I was really proud to stand with her as we announced an additional investment, $12 million more dollars for mental health in the summer, so that a child who gets services in a school September to June does not have to not have access to services July and August. It was very difficult for the parent. They had to scramble in the community to find something else. Often they didn't. So now we're going to fund it annually, 12 months of continuous year-round service. And the other big part of Natalie, and this is her legacy. She delivered this. We're just proud to stand with her. Was her motion calling on the governments to mandate mental health literacy in the curriculum to help prevent tragedies. And I just want to acknowledge that today we did another positive announcement on mental health. We're strengthening curriculum in grade 7 and 8 and grade 10. And part of this new curriculum is going to focus on giving young people literal life skills and a toolbox of how to manage stress, how to manage competing priorities, how to plan for the future, So practical learning around mental health, I think is be very, very important. So look, from the legislation, the Better Schools, the Student Outcomes Act, it's about more focus on student achievement and raising standards and holding the system to account. The funding has been increased again. We're talking about another increase year after year of over $650 million for this coming school year. We're talking about 2,000 more teachers, and we're talking about another investment in mental health. When you add up all of the funding in mental health under Doug Ford and our Premier and our PC team with Amarjot and Nina Tangri and I, we've increased mental health funding by 550% when you compare it to the peak of spending under Premier Kathleen Wynne. Not a political comment, just a factual one. We're doing a lot more, and we're going to keep doing more because we know that our kids need it.
Hello, Minister. Minister, we have seen that recently there were so many attacks in the schools, and parents feel that their kids are not safe. It's across Ontarian schools that we have seen stabbings, we have seen guns in the schools, the violence is very high. Even the fact is not hidden that we see that drug suppliers, they are around the school zones areas, they are supplying drugs is a serious issue. Now recently Ontario government announced that there will be more police officers in the forces and they will pay for their tuition fees for the basic trainings. So now since the Ontario government will have more police officers and parents are concerned that about the public safety, about the safety of their kids in the schools, so there used to be a SRO program, school resource officers. Every school used to have 2 police officers in the schools, but after some incidents those SRO program was halted, and the chief of police, he made a statement that time that it's a temporary halt and we will reinstate this program when the time comes. So now is this not the time that we need those SRO officers back into the schools, because drugs are nearby the schools, crime is there. So what does government plan to implement that policy of having a SRO officers in our schools so that parents feel their kids are safe in the schools? Minister, also we have seen that cannabis, since it's legal here in Canada or in the Ontario also, and we have seen maximum consumption of cannabis is by the youth, younger generation. They are driving vehicles after cannabis consumptions, and police don't have that enough tools to catch them. It's a serious concern of the parents that younger generations, they are on cannabis, they are consuming cannabis. So what is government's action plans on these issues of the safety of our kids, since you are doing a good job on the mental health issues, that about the today's announcement that there will be more resources for grade 7 and 8 students and mandatory curriculum for the grade 10 students for the mental health. So on the other issues which I mentioned, what is government's action plan on that? If you have any. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Then all school boards ultimately make the decision of having the SRO within the school. I'll tell you, I think a well-trained police officer with good education, good community mindset could be a very positive, could play a positive role in schools. Obviously, I hear the concerns of some families that felt like those officers, some of them could have created some difficulty for some children, particularly racialized children. I think my message is we need communities and school boards and police to work together when we've never seen a higher level of violence, opioid usage, sex trafficking, and a variety of other very serious crimes, including online cyber criminality. So I believe we need to stand with police officers. We need to see them in our communities. We need to support their hard work. They do a very difficult job. Just last Monday, we announced $23 million more for specifically to counter violence. More mental health supports, more safety monitors in schools. We announced more training for staff. And as you know, we announced that we're hiring more police officers for communities. Much of the crime that's happening is not happening at schools. It's happening in the community, but it's pouring into the school. It's happening, a fight happens in the community, then it happens, they start moving into the parking lot or sometimes around the school property. Very serious. We've had shootings in schools. This is a grave concern for anyone in the province and certainly for parents. And so we take zero tolerance. So we've stepped up support for policing and community policing. We're hiring more officers. In the schools, we're investing in more mental health, more nutrition programs, better training of staff, more de-escalation supports for principals. We're literally doing everything, including all the root causes of crime. You know, we just announced a partnership with the Pinball Clemens Foundation. Literally thousands of kids are going to have after-school programs. It's going to keep them busy. You know, they get paid, they get an opportunity to learn, co-op programs, and after-school programs. We did a project with Sheldon Kennedy. You may remember he's a former NHL player. He himself was a victim of sexual abuse, and he's built a program about helping to keep kids safe from abuse and as well from bullying. We funded his program, the Respect program. Like, we're using every tool available to us to reduce crime, and including online, by the way. It's a lot of people are preying on children online. So in the curriculum, for the first time, we're teaching kids mandatory learning on privacy, on consent, on healthy relationships. So, and today we announced more mental health funding, which is only going to help reduce some of those issues. So look, I'm proud of our law enforcement and those who serve. We thank them. And frankly, it's a very difficult job. I think that what school boards could do is work with the police and work with the communities, work with anyone who's going to keep children and staff safe in schools. That's our responsibility.
But this SRO program, can it come back?
Oh yeah. School boards ultimately with the decision to pause it. They'll be the ones to restart it. It's all with them, not the ministry. But absolutely, a school who paused it could restart it, and a school that never started it could do so today. It's really up to them. But I think what you're hearing from us is a willingness to work with all the parties to come together to do the right thing for kids. It's wonderful to be with my colleague Amarjot Sandhu and Nina Tangri together as we announce a plan to increase funding and support in our school system with a plan to make reading, writing, and math the focus. We're going back to the basics with more foundational skills. We're hiring 2,000 more teachers. We're promoting literacy. We want young people to excel and master the skills that matter. We're announcing a new plan for mental health, more investments, over 500% increase in mental health funding. We're going to be ensuring that the kids learn skills, life skills, job skills in the curriculum, more hands-on learning, and more STEM, more science, technology, engineering, and math. All of this is a plan to make sure your kids succeed for better jobs and better outcomes, and it all comes down to ensuring your students graduate with a competitive advantage, and that's what we're committed to doing, ensuring your young people have every tool and resource available for their success. And I want to thank Amarjot Sandhu, I want to thank Nina Tangri. They are exceptional leaders, and we're working together to make sure kids get back on track.
ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਜੀ ਸਟੀਵਨ ਲੈਚੇ ਅਤੇ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਟ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੀਨਾ ਟਾਂਗਰੀ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਾਊਂਡ ਟੇਬਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਸੈਕਟਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਫਾਈਲਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਵਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਫੋਕਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਨਾਟ ਓਨਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਰਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਮੈਥਮੈਟਿਕਸ ਸਕਿੱਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਫੋਕਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਟੂ ਇਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਟੂਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਸਕਿੱਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਣ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਕੂਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਨਵੇਂ ਸਕੂਲ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਗਰੋਥ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੋ ਵੀ ਰੀਲੀ ਨੀਡ ਦੋਸ ਸਕੂਲਸ ਸੋ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਾਊਂਡ ਟੇਬਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜੀ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਐਪਰੀਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਦੇ ਵਿਲ ਹੈਲਪ ਅਸ ਮੇਕ ਇਨਫੋਰਮਡ ਡਿਸੀਜਨਸ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਵਾਂ ਲੈਜਿਸਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ
ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਨਵੈਸਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ in science, technology, education, math, they see back to the basics karna chahunde hai. So with this, the investments we're announcing here, with the legislation that's going through the House right now, we're making sure jo bhi sada baro teachers aa rahi hai that they can get their coverage and become teachers much more faster than they were in the past, and also to make sure that our students are getting the support that they need, not just from throughout the school year, but in July and August, that they also get the mental health supports that they need within our communities. These are very important and serious issues, of course, after COVID, to make sure that our students succeed, not just here in Ontario and in Canada, but around the world, that we have the best and the brightest students, whether they go to post-secondary education, whether they go into the skilled trades, whatever choice of education they can have a good paying job at the end of that and become, of course, great citizens here in Ontario and Canada. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to listen to you, so please reach out to us. We want to grow more as a community. We want to make sure we make investments in the community. Newcomers, when they come here, they not only get a great education for their kids, but they have a roof over their heads. So as the Associate Minister of Housing, we want to make sure that we have enough housing for our newcomers, for our future generations, that we have the best and the brightest kids, and building the infrastructure, the schools, the hospitals, and everything that we need to make sure we have the best communities and make sure that Ontario is also always going to remain the best place to live, to work, and to raise a family.